Okay, so let's dive into Chloe's training so we can stay consistent at home. Let's start off by going over her commands and how we're going to reward Chloe when she does the right behavior. So let's start off with heel. Heel is the command to walk next to me on the left-hand side on a loose leash. So it's really important that we make sure there's no tightness in the leash whenever she's wearing her training collars. There should not be a triangle visible while you're walking with Chloe. It should be nice and relaxed. So heel. What you're going to do is you're going to say heel, start walking. Chloe's going to follow along at your pace. If she goes too fast or tries to sniff, we're going to use these training tools to correct that behavior. But while she's walking next to you and she's doing a good job, we're going to praise, pet, and give treats to let her know, hey, keep doing that behavior. It's a good choice. So you can do that by saying good heel and giving her a treat, or just verbal praise, good heel, and keep walking. We're going to go over how to correct here in a minute. So then we have sit. Sit means stay is implied until she's told free. Same thing with heel. Whenever you're walking with her, it should be 85 to 90% in the heel position, nice loose leash, and then 10 to 15% free. Free is the release command for sit, place, down, heel. So she knows she can go explore. She has the freedom to go sniff and see what's going on. So we have her in a heel, then we can tell her free. She can go sniff, go to the bathroom. Great, that 10-15% of exploring. Okay, then back to heel. That way she's nice and structured and walking with us rather than walking ahead of us and not paying attention. So then we have sit. So for example, door manners. We have Chloe sit at the door. As we open the door or a certain distraction happens, let's say a dog walks by or we open the door, we're going to remind her with a verbal sit. Distraction happens, free, walk through the door together. Or you can tell her heel and walk through the door together as well. So that is sit. We then have down, which is lay down and stay. So she already had a good idea of what down was, but now we just have more of a stay with it. So she knows that she has to stay in the down position until she is told free. We don't free from a distance. So you'll see in the videos coming up when Chloe's in the store, I tell her down. When I'm going to leave her, I remind her down. That's basically telling her stay put. I walk away, do my distractions, I come back, I tell her good job, reward the behavior for her staying, and then I tell her free that she can get up. So I always go back to Chloe to tell her free, and that way she knows I have to stay here until I am released. You don't want to release from a distance because then she's going to anticipate being released and she'll jump up before you say the free word, because dogs like to anticipate what's going to happen next. So she will anticipate you freeing her or releasing her from that command before you actually say the word. So it's best to just go back to her and tell her free. Same thing with place. So place is a boundary stay on an elevated bed. This is great for when guests come over or when you want to put Chloe in a structured command but still have her a part of the group. Let's say you're eating dinner. That way she's not begging at the table. We put her on place. She's doing a good job. When we reward, we put the treat on the bed, good place. Then when it's time to free her off, let's say she's on place right here, we always go up to her, good place, pet, praise, treat, and then we tell her free, like she's almost like a mime in a box and we have to pretend to open the door for her and we tell her free that she can get off of the bed. So that is the release word, free. Then we have come when called. So we let Chloe free, she can run, she can explore a little bit, always practice with a leash on, and when we call her to come to us, we say come, she runs, we praise the action of her running to us, have her sit, then reward, and then again sit means stay, so she has to wait until you say free again, so then she can explore. So that gives her the opportunity to go sniff and have fun, and then also gives us the peace of mind that when we want her back, we call her. But of course have a leash on just in case, especially if you're practicing in an area that's not fenced in. And then we have leave it. So leave it means don't grab that off of the floor. So if you drop something, tell her leave it before she goes for it. If she continues to go for it, we're going to use the training equipment to correct those behaviors. So let's talk about how we're going to incorporate this training equipment. That way, if she doesn't do the command, we have a way to follow through and say, when I give the command, you can do it and get rewarded, or you cannot do it, get a correction, and then still need to do the command. That's what following through is. So let's talk about her remote collar. The remote itself has an on-off button in the back, right here, the big button in the middle. We're going to push and hold that until the screen lights up. So once the screen is on, you know that the remote itself is on. But we have to then turn on her collar. So this should be worn by Chloe every day. Turn this on before we put it on Chloe. So on the collar, we have a little red dot right here. That's the on-off key. On the remote, we have the red magnet that matches. We're going to touch the two together. Now her collar is on. So now we can use the remote. So Chloe is wearing the collar, and going back to leave it really quick, we're going to use the black S button, the one up top. So we tell her leave it. She's going to sneak and try and get that item off the ground. Leave it. You just tap the button and tell her leave it. Now with all the other commands, what you're going to do is say no, tap the button, and then repeat the command. So let's talk about heel again for a second. Heel means walk next to me on a loose leash at my pace. If she wants to walk ahead, walking ahead will turn into pulling, and that's what we want to avoid. So you'll say no, heel, and tell her heel again. So it's no, heel. No, push the button, remind her heel. We also have the prong collar. So when you say no and push the button, you can give a little pop of the leash and then tell her heel. So we're kind of telling her, hey, there's consequences for your actions. If you do the behavior, you get rewarded. If not, there's a correction, and you still need to do the behavior. So in Chloe's mind, what that tells her is, I might as well listen the first time. That way I can avoid the training equipment and avoid the correction. So to earn the reward and by doing the behavior correctly. Then we have sit. If you ask her to sit and she does, great. If she gets up before you say free, no, sit. Also with the leash, of course, I just don't have that many hands. For down, same thing. If you say down and she just looks at you, no, down. Because you want her to listen the first time we ask, not the 10th time we ask. So make sure when you ask her the command, you have the ability to correct her if she doesn't listen with either the remote collar and or the leash. So one or the other when you're working with Chloe. That way you can stay consistent at home. Place. If she gets off of the bed or breaks any of the rules of place. So when she's on place, she can stand, sit, lay down. She can do whatever she wants. She just can't vocalize or chew on the bed. So like chew on her leash, chew on the bed. If she breaks any of the rules, barks, anything, no, place. So it's always no, correction, give the command. If she gets off, again, no, place. And then you might have to use the leash, pop, pop, back to the bed. And then, of course, we already went over leave it. And then, of course, come when called. So we have her attached to a long leash just in case. But for the most part, if she doesn't listen when you call her, no, come. She comes to you, good girl. She still did it, even though, so with come when called, it's a little bit different. After you give a correction, you don't immediately give a treat because you don't want her to think, oh, you can break the rules but still get a reward. So what you do with all the other commands is you have to wait at least probably 30 seconds before you then can reward her for doing the command. With come when called, it's a little bit different because you want to be the good guy, right? We want to be fun. We want to be the reward. So if she doesn't come when you call, no, come, and then she does, you still want to be happy. Good girl, thank you for coming to me. You don't want to call her to you and then correct her, because then she's not going to want to come to you. So make sure that even if she has to get a correction out here, when she does come to you, it's still a positive experience. That way she'll want to continue to do it. So that is her equipment. That's how we're going to stay consistent. So we're going to reward the behaviors that she does correctly. It'll increase the rate of those behaviors. We're going to use the training equipment to correct the unwanted behaviors or when she doesn't listen. That's going to decrease the rate of her not listening to your commands. So have fun, stay consistent, and now we're going to show you Chloe's commands. Heel. Heel. Sit. Free. Free. Chloe, come. Good girl. Sit. Free. Come. Good girl. Sit. Free. Chloe, come. Good girl. Good deal. Well, I feel like if I take that off. What are you saying? Sit. Sit. Nope. Sit. Down. 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 Heel. Down. Good girl. Down. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Good. Down. Free. Good girl. Good heel. Heel. Sit. Good job. Leave it. Good girl. Okay. Good job. Leave it. Free. Okay. Place. No. Place. Good place. Place. Good place. Good place. 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 Good. Good place. Free. Go see. What are those things? What are they? So let's go over the other features of the remote collar. So we have the collar itself has this bungee quick snap that makes it really easy to put the collar on and take the collar off of Chloe. So we went over the on-off button and the black S button. Let's go over the red button. So we have not needed this for Chloe yet. It is a boost feature. So let's say you've practiced off leash come when called and she's done really, really great, and all of a sudden she starts running for the road for whatever reason, and you've tried correcting her with the black S button and it's just not going through. You have the boost feature of the red button, which is going to add 25 to the level on the screen. So what that does is if her adrenaline's up, the 25 might work when her adrenaline's down here. The 50 should work. That way she gets snapped back to reality and she doesn't get to a dangerous point of running towards the road. So haven't needed it for any of Chloe's training, but you have it just in case you ever need it if you're gonna practice truly off leash. But again, practice with a leash on first, especially when you're in a new environment or an environment that has a ton of distractions around. Then we have the T button. This is vibrate. So it will vibrate her collar. What I like to do is first thing in the morning when I'm turning the collar on, I like to push vibrate a few times to make sure that this collar is on before I put it on Chloe. I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally put a collar on a dog and it's not turned on and I'm wondering why it's not doing anything. So make sure the collar is turned on before you put it on Chloe by using vibrate. Now, in a few months down the road, you can maybe use this as a correction, but I would not rush to it because it's kind of like counting to 3 a little bit. It's somewhat of a correction, but not really. So I wouldn't use it for Chloe right now. So she's at level 25. This can change. This isn't set in stone. The level can change, and 25 might be too much when she goes home. It might not be enough. So you'll see what that is based on her reaction. So if you have to correct a lot, 25 is not enough. Turn it up to 30 or 35. If you correct her with the collar and it makes her like jump a little bit, it's too high for that environment, so we need to adjust it. Dogs adjust all the time, so it's going to change with each environment that you introduce her in. So just kind of start with the baseline of 20 and 25, and then you can go higher or lower if needed. How to do that? The dial is actually locked. How to unlock it? You're going to push down and hold it until the 1D at the very top is now flashing. Then you can turn it down and you can turn it up. So once you have it to the level you want it at, we're going to turn it back to 25. Now, when you change the level, the boost will still be plus 25 no matter what number you put it on. So if you put it on 20, it'll go up to 45. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I have it back to 25. I'm going to push down and hold it for a second. Make sure it's locked. Now I can't accidentally turn it too high or too low for Chloe. Okay, so the on-off button in the back, it also says light. Little Miss Chloe can turn into a flashlight. So if we tap it again, the on-off button in the back is what I'm tapping. You can see her at night, which I think is a pretty cool feature. Tap it again to turn it off because you don't want that on all the time. It'll drain the battery down. The little M/C button, don't worry about that. It changes it from momentary to continuous. So what momentary means is if I push and hold the black S button, it's only going to tap that one time, a momentary tap. If you change it to continuous, it will stimulate continuously. She does not need that at a high level. We use that at a lower level in the beginning of training. So the charging port is on the back, and for here it's underneath. These are waterproof, so make sure that these are closed. That way dirt, debris, and water doesn't get into the electronics. What we're going to do is we're going to turn this off. So this can last about 2 days on a charge. So to turn it off, exact same way you turn it on. Touch, red light means it's off. Push and hold, and the screen will go blank after a few seconds. Reaches up to a half mile, completely waterproof. Chloe can wear this 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night. Now, if she goes swimming with this on, make sure you take the collar off. That way her skin and hair can dry thoroughly. That way she doesn't get a skin infection, because this does have to fit snug so that the contact points make good connection to her skin. So there's not a lot of like breathing room. So you want to make sure that you take it off at night and completely dry the area. Also, every couple of days, make sure you rotate it to the other side. That way it doesn't leave like a collar mark or a collar sore on her neck again, which could lead to a hot spot, which then if she has a hot spot there, she can't wear the collar in training. So 12 to 14 hours a day, take it off at night. Waterproof, but make sure she's dry. Little prong collar here. Putting this on and off is about technique, not strength. So we hold one steady. I'm right-handed, so I like to have my right hand hold one prong steady. Now notice I'm not holding back here, I'm holding the prong. And then I take my thumb and I follow it, keeping the links parallel to each other, and you just push through and down. To put it back together, squeeze, squeeze in. It's pretty easy once you get the hang of it, but at first it could be a little bit difficult because, again, about technique, not strength. Then in her nifty little box, we have her charger right here. We have extra long prongs that you can put on her collar if you ever decide to grow her hair out, or if her hair gets really thick in the winter time. This little tool will change out the prongs on the collar. This is her original strap. It's just a buckle, no bungee, no quick snap, so you can still use it if you want. Bottom here, instruction manual if you want to go over all the details Again, all the buttons in greater detail. This does have a 2-year full warranty, so if anything happens to the collar or to the remote, contact the company and they will replace it. So stay consistent. Have her wear this equipment every day. First couple of days at home, practice with a leash on in the house. That way you can guide her where you want her to go, and she understands that the training doesn't just happen here at the training facility, it happens at home with you. So have fun, stay consistent, and let us know if you have any questions.